I am just on the border of the southwest border of Yosemite National Park, and I'm running along this rim line up here where, if you've been following the Missing 411 series, a couple of individuals have gone missing up in this area without a trace. They don't know what happened to these individuals. And also, I have received at least 8 reports from the locals of Sasquatch activity along this rim line. Hello and welcome to Squatchspot.com. I'm Darrin Smith, and today I am investigating an area that I really haven't spent a lot of time in. However, I have mentioned it on a number of episodes. I am just on the border of the southwest border of Yosemite National Park, and I'm running along this rim line up here where, if you've been following the Missing 411 series, a couple of individuals have gone missing up in this area without a trace. They don't know what happened to these individuals. And also, I have received at least 8 reports from the locals of Sasquatch activity along this rim line. So this area is very strategic in the sense of Sasquatch research because it is a highway that the Sasquatch are using when they are circumventing Yosemite National Park. They don't want to move into Yosemite and get into the valley where they'll be enclosed and there'll be a lot of human activity down there. So they get around Yosemite by moving along this rim, and there are not a lot of people up in this area because it's incredibly difficult to get to. And so, as you can see, we have some snow going on here, and it's been happening all morning and throughout most of the early afternoon. So I'm going to continue my efforts in the area for a bit longer, but I have an extreme distance to hike to get back to where my vehicle is located. And I really have to pay close attention to the time because I don't want to be moving through this area at nighttime just because the snow is incredibly slippery and it's going to be very difficult for me to get off this mountain. So I am going to continue my efforts for a bit longer, and I'm hoping that the snow does not get too unbearable. I do have emergency gear with me, and I may be adding some of that on now. And unfortunately, because of the moisture and the water and the snow, I will have to put up the camera for a bit and really focus my efforts on investigating this area, but I'm definitely going to be bringing you guys along on the journey, and if I find anything of interest, I will definitely be sharing it with you. As I mentioned, I am moving along the southwest border of Yosemite National Park, along the Chowchilla mountain range. This ridgeline and the surrounding area has had numerous reported Sasquatch incidents, and it is also the same location where 2 individuals have gone missing without a trace and were featured on Missing 411. My location is just south of one of these disappearance locations. So you can see that even this ridge line, there's just a tremendous amount of trees that have fallen as a result of not only those mono winds that I mentioned in the previous episode, but also the bark beetle that, as I mentioned numerous times, has killed all those trees along the Sierra Nevada mountains. But what I like about this area, I've been kind of hanging out here for quite a bit, but it's a very expansive area, and it's very rare that the Sasquatch would move into such an open area, but it's definitely a good place to be situating yourself just to kind of observe the environment and to get that expansive view and hopefully be able to witness some animals move through the area. So I have been spending quite a bit of time in this area and also in the thick of the forest, and I think I'm going to be heading back into the cover of the trees because it is starting to come down a lot heavier now, and at least in the thick forest you're not getting pummeled so much by the direct snowfall. So I'm going to try to get back into the cover of the heavy forest. Previously on Squatchspot.com, we began an ongoing discussion topic, what are the Sasquatch? And we discussed briefly the possibility that the Sasquatch were an undiscovered primate or relic hominid. I want to thank all of you who offered your opinion and ideas, and on this episode, I would like to continue on topic, and I want to share a couple more theories that have increased in popularity over recent years. Theories which origins come from the Bible. The first one comes from the book of Genesis, which recounts the lives of the first descendants of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. In the narrative, Cain kills his brother Abel, and God's punishment was that Cain would forever wander the earth, divinely protected from premature death, which some interpret as immortality. And they believe that Cain was the physical manifestation of evil, and as a result, his features were grotesque, monstrous, and they offer the Sasquatch could in fact be Cain, spending all of eternity roaming the earth in the shadows. Though I absolutely respect personal belief, I find it difficult to believe this theory can account for all of the reported Sasquatch encounters. A large percentage of eyewitness accounts feature female or juvenile Sasquatch, as well as multiple Sasquatch being spotted at the same time. And it would not explain the varying subspecies being described in various locations around the world. The second theory also comes from the book of Genesis. In this narrative, 6 rebellious angels were cast out of heaven by God, Satan being one of them. 5 of the angels were banished to earth, where it is said they procreated with female humans and produced offspring called the Nephilim, which some interpretations describes as being haired-covered giants. Though I was raised Catholic, I am not a theologian. However, this theory has raised a lot of interest over recent years. In fact, it even prompted the Catholic Church to offer their input that the Sasquatch could not be the Nephilim, because all of life was extinguished during the Great Flood, with the exception of the humans and animals saved on Noah's Ark. However, the speculation the Sasquatch are Nephilim continues. Many believe the fallen angels were immortal, and they would not have perished during the Great Flood, after which they could have continued to create offspring by procreating with female human descendants of Noah. And they surmise this explains the various subspecies around the world, which would be the result of environmental evolution, concluding the fallen angels were scattered throughout the lands. I have mentioned this numerous times on previous episodes. Although I absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt the Sasquatch are real and are roaming our woods, I have no clue what these creatures are, and I am on a personal quest to obtain evidence of their existence and hopefully find some answers. However, I have to admit, I do find this theory thought-provoking, probably because of my Catholic upbringing, and I find it absolutely mind-blowing the Catholic Church would even address it. We do know the Sasquatch are more attracted to female humans than males. Native American stories abound of Sasquatch abducting female members of the tribe, and I have raised my own concerns on previous videos over the unusual disappearance of the 54-year-old woman here in the Sierra National Forest. Environmental evolution could absolutely account for the varying types of Sasquatch around the world, and there have been some amazing DNA analyses that have concluded Sasquatch are a hybrid species consisting of female human mitochondria and an unidentified male chromosome. However, unfortunately, without an actual Sasquatch specimen at the hands of science, these DNA findings are subjective, though they're intriguing nonetheless. I absolutely understand, taking into consideration the religious context, not everyone will be embracing of the aforementioned theories. However, I am interested in what you think. Taking into consideration the DNA findings, the story of ages, and the reported evidence, is it possible the Sasquatch are abducting female humans with the intent of producing offspring? Do any of you know of any comparison studies done on proposed Sasquatch DNA found on different continents? And in the realm of theology, if angels were cast out of heaven, would they be mere earthly beings with the exception of their immortality, or would they have any unusual abilities? I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts in the comments section below. And please understand and respect that although there are a number of solid working theories out there as to what these creatures are, without conclusive, scientifically accepted and proven evidence, all we have right now is conjecture. So please be mindful that we are all still searching for the definitive answers as to what the Sasquatch are, and as history has demonstrated in the past, future truth may be very different from today's reality. Okay, as you can see, it's really starting to come down, and I really haven't found anything at the moment that leads me to believe that the Sasquatch are moving through the area. And there was a recent fire up on this ridge. There was the Ferguson fire that had burnt through a lot of this area. So that might be encouraging the Sasquatch to take a different approach when getting around Yosemite if they are moving north. But I still want to spend a little more time in this area investigating it because it is a good location. And after receiving all those very credible reports about activity that was happening along the ridgeline here, I definitely think it is a really good area to be investigating. However, I did mention it's just very difficult to get up here, and it's not possible for me to drive up onto this ridge from the Mariposa side, so I have to hike into this area to get up onto this ridge line. And I could take a look at a map. There probably is some access points. I may be able to drive through from the Yosemite side. However, I really didn't intend to focus so much time investigating this ridge because, as I mentioned, the Ferguson fire had moved through the area, and that happened shortly after I moved up to Mariposa. So I really didn't think that the Sasquatch would be venturing into those burnt out zones, especially the recently burnt out zones. However, I found areas along this ridge that was untouched by the Ferguson fire, and it still may reveal some interesting clues that the Sasquatch do move through the area. And I really do want to spend as much as today investigating this area. Unfortunately, the snow has let up a little bit since I've been talking to you, so hopefully it'll remain that way, because I do have a few more hours of sunlight available to me, and I really want to utilize as much of it as possible investigating the area before the snow and the setting sun encourages me to get out of this area. But I'm going to continue my efforts. It is absolutely breathtaking out here. I used to live up in South Lake Tahoe, and snow was pretty much a regular occurrence. And the beauty of the lake up there, of Lake Tahoe and the surrounding area, it's just absolutely breathtaking up there as well, especially during the winter time when everything is covered in snow. And here, we do get snow, obviously, and unfortunately this season we weren't getting a lot of snow, so it really is quite a treat to be out here hiking in the snow, because it's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you see the view there, and it's just really incredible. And I also love the fact that it's so quiet when it's snowing out, and there are some scientific reasons for that, but it absolutely adds to the whole tranquility of getting out in nature and hiking and being out in this natural beauty. And over the past several months with this COVID situation and everybody pretty much locked down at home, it's just such a treat to be getting out in the wild and experiencing such natural beauty. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be out here investigating this area. It's absolute pristine wilderness up here. There are fallen trees as a result of the bark beetle and the mono winds, but it's still just an exquisite view, and it's just absolutely a treat to be up here. I have mentioned this several times on previous videos. However, if you are investigating an area that has had recent fire activity, you can use this to your advantage when searching for the Sasquatch, as I don't believe the Sasquatch will want to move through these burned out zones, and as a result, they will alter their movement patterns to avoid them, and researchers will be able to better predict their movement patterns. Already during this outing, I have noted areas that were not decimated by the recent Ferguson fire, and these untouched corridors are going to be the routes the Sasquatch will take when moving through the environment, and as a result, this altered movement pattern will significantly reduce my investigation area and my search radius. I have been at it for hours now, and I haven't come to any conclusion that the Sasquatch are in the area. The only physical evidence that I found of any sort of animal activity were deer. I found just an abundance of deer track in the area, and I actually saw a doe and her two fawn moving through the forest. So there are plenty of deer up in this area, which is absolutely a food source for the Sasquatch. However, I didn't find any sort of physical evidence that led me to believe that the Sasquatch are in the area. So looking at time, I am going to have to start looking at heading back now, because the sun is going to be going down here soon, and it's going to take me probably close to 3.5 hours to get back to where my vehicle is located. So I am going to get a move on and start heading back towards where my vehicle is located. While making the long trek back to my vehicle, the snow really started falling. Fortunately, I make it a point to always be prepared when trekking into the wilderness, so I had gear available to me that kept me dry, safe, and toasty warm. And although we did not find any definitive evidence that the Sasquatch are moving through this area, this ridgeline has had significant reported Sasquatch activity in the past. It absolutely makes sense that the Sasquatch would be traveling along this ridge to circumvent the enclosed valley of Yosemite and the millions of visitors roaming the park. This area is very inaccessible and is rarely visited by humans, and although the area has sustained heavy damage as a result of the Ferguson fire of 2018, there are narrow corridors of untouched wilderness, which I believe the Sasquatch will be using when moving through this area. These narrow passageways significantly reduce my target search areas, and they provide me with a strategic opportunity to catch the Sasquatch as they move along this ridge. I would like to thank all of you who continue to support and subscribe to my channel, who offer encouragement by pressing the like button, and who have dropped me a kind message. It is this sort of positive motivation that keeps me searching and sharing my discoveries on YouTube, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support. I've also learned there are a number of groups and individuals who have promoted my channel in the past, and I'd like to send out a few quick shout-outs to a number of them. Wes Germer with Sasquatch Chronicles, BigfootTimes.com, Squatchable.com, the Crypto Blast Blogspot, Bigfoot Evidence Blogspot, and the kind folks of Bigfoot Research Organization who have supported my videos, and my friends at Team Squatchachusetts. I really appreciate all your support and encouragement, and I sincerely offer a heartfelt thank you. And I want to thank all of you for watching this video and joining me on this incredible journey into the Sasquatch mystery. And until next time, I'm Darrin Smith, and I'll see you here at Squatchspot.com.